What is up, everybody? Adam here with HIITCAST with the one and only Dr. Trevor Bennion.
What's up, everybody?
And that sweet mustache is here again week 2.
Yeah.
That is a plus. So today, real fun topic of discussion.
I'm excited about this one.
I'm super stoked because
I'm excited, but I'm excited because it's like a raging topic a little bit. Like,
yes,
like,
yes. I'm not excited because I don't want this, like we talked about before. We don't want this to be taken out of context because people could easily like hear the beginning of this, the end of this, miss the complete middle, and go, well, this is what they said. Ipso facto, you said this.
Pick the best bits that make it convenient for their
kind of like how a lot of people do with like the Bible.
Yeah.
Same thing. I'm going to use this, but not this.
Yeah.
I don't like this part. That doesn't apply to me. So today's topic is, can you out-train a bad diet?
Right.
Is there such thing as a, your fat loss is 80% diet and 20% workout, or 70-30 or 60, like whatever this percentage is that your trainer says. And let me go on the record of saying, prior to our conversation,
Which conversation?
Well,
last week's conversation?
kind of last week's. Yeah. I was on the boat, the bandwagon of it's 70-30, 80-20. But after chatting with you, I think I was actually in the same boat as Dr. Trevor Bennion was, but I wasn't relaying my message clearly, which was easy for my clients to take out of context. So I think that's kind of how it ended up. So that's today's discussion.
Yeah. And I guess like my preface to it is like lately I've been seeing so much on Facebook specifically, but like on all the social medias. I've got this one buddy in particular, and he just over this past month has been launching all sorts of online training stuff. And this dude has like a killer six-pack. Like that is definitely like...
That's there.
Yeah.
It's crispy. And everybody wants it.
Crispy.
Whatever you're doing, I'm doing.
So he's posting these videos on Facebook, and he's just like, hey guys, like join me for my training stuff, and I will teach you how to eat like I do so that you have a six-pack like I do, right? And that's definitely, I think, an attractive like sales pitch, right? Mm-hmm. But from my perspective, I'm looking at this and I'm like, first of all, dude, I don't know if you're formally trained in nutrition, like beyond just a personal training certificate. But then also, like he's doing all these hashtags like abs are made in the kitchen, whatever. You can't out-train a bad diet.
Yeah.
And all these other catchy ones. And I'm the kind of guy, like I see this stuff happening on Facebook, and I'm the kind of guy, it's like I have to fight the urge to always be like, actually, like in the comment section.
I'm going to debunk everything you just said.
Yeah, like, like I'm pretty sure that like 50% of what this guy's saying, and it's not just him, it's so many other people on Facebook that I see like all the time, like 50% of what this post had to say in it was just like bro science. I mean, I don't know if he's making it up, but it's definitely, I just want to be like, dude, where is your, like, what reference are you citing when you make this claim? Which I think is like, that's a big deal. Like exercise and personal training, exercise physiology is part of allied healthcare. Like as a fitness professional, you are also a health professional. And you can't just take that kind of stuff lightly. You can't just be coming up with these claims and these quotes and not citing anything, because as far as I know and as far as everyone else knows, like maybe you're just making it up. And in this case, like I'm pretty sure this guy is a little bit. Another thing that kind of bugs me on Facebook stuff and all social media is like these fitness tips or nutrition tips, and they're just completely like based off nothing.
Ambiguous. Just like make sure, X amount of your fruit intake is dark fruits as opposed to red fruits. And you're like, what? Like,
make sure that on Tuesdays you only eat bananas.
Yeah. Like,
what are you talking about?
There's a lot of times there's nothing to it. And you're making, that's what we talked about last time. That's one of those times when they're making fitness a lot harder than it needs to be to sell a product. Because it's really not. Like for me and my clients, if I say, your second snack of the day is an apple, and you have a pear, I don't care. I don't care if you have a banana or an orange or a handful of grapes. Like, I don't care. Like, don't split hairs, you know. But I'm also not, putting people on stage. I'm not trying to get people to 2 to 3% body fat. I am trying to change a behavior pattern, an eating habit, take people from just not caring, not controlling anything to let's start making steps. But
Totally.
I think there's a difference there. So that's anyways the long story long of what we're going to be going over today, and essentially.
Yeah, I think this whole like you can't out-train a bad diet. These really catchy catchphrases that have gone viral, and now like
hashtags really fuck things up for us. And like they're kind of cool and they let you get found, but man, people just hashtags have become something that's just believable.
Right, it's
if
such
it's cool
trending,
and catchy.
It's
it
like
becomes like
phrase.
That's got to be true if it rhymes.
Yeah, it's like people's gospel when it comes to their health and fitness.
Yeah,
and this is one of those things where I'm just like, I want to call it out.
Yeah,
like, says who? Like, is there any research behind this? You can't out-train a bad diet phrase.
In a lot of times, let me put some trainers on blast right now.
Please do.
A lot of times, trainers are using this. You can't out-train a bad diet because they themselves don't want to be real with their clients and don't want to become human and say, I eat like shit sometimes. I make bad choices, but I also make sure I'm getting to the gym and utilizing those calories.
Yeah.
Like they make themselves inhuman to almost put themselves in a soapbox that their clients can't achieve, so that they're always above them and people want to follow them so much.
Whoa.
And that's something I see a lot of trainers doing. That like, look, if you're a trainer doing that, you need to stop that shit because you're human. And I see a lot of you guys. I see what you eat behind closed doors. I see what you drink. Like a lot of you guys eat like total damn garbage and make it seem like that's not the life you live in. To hell, it isn't. It is.
Yeah.
You know. So I feel like I needed to kind of call out some trainers. Like, stop trying to put yourself above your clients like that. Be human to your clients. I promise you, you will sign on a lot more clients that way. Wow. So
we're both gonna rage a little bit.
Yeah,
on today's
tangent
podcast.
of the day. Tangent of the day. Like,
I love it.
Yeah. So, anyways,
that's our topic this week.
So let's go over some news.
Yes.
Also big news.
Let's hear it.
I partner pretty closely. I don't want to say partner. I'm sponsored by a nutrition store in our local area, which they help me, get me into the contests, things like that, whatever. And really, we don't have a lot of fitness stores around here, but they're mom and pop stop. They're very
cool.
They're very truthful with what they do. They're not just trying to push every product on people.
Yeah.
But talking to him, about just supplements and what's new, everybody is going literally just ape shit for bone broth protein. And myself, the first time I heard about bone broth protein, I was like, this sounds like some kind of MLM, cult-like following, Oprah Winfrey shit. Because anything, and I heard about this, like, helps restore collagen, blah, 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 blah. But I've also heard, like, just putting gelatin, like regular gelatin, mixing with warm water, drinking it for a prolonged period of time can actually help restore collagen, things like that between the knees. Well, I should say not just the knees, but, with anywhere in the body. But, contrary to popular belief, that like the percentage it helped was like minute. It wasn't even worth the 10-cent package of gelatin you were drinking. So I was like, here we go. Like, somebody found something that made a 3% increase, and here's their claim to fame, which 3% really isn't a lot at all. So, but you've actually done some research on this.
I have, and this is very, I would say, coincidental, because just like a week ago, I got an email from one of my clients asking about bone broth, collagen supplements. And at first, like, my gut instinct, I was just gonna shoot a quick reply back and just kind of give my opinion on it. But then I figured, it's more of my style to do a little bit of reading and pull up some peer-reviewed stuff and look to see what the research is saying. Because it's my opinion is not really that important. It's my.
I would say your opinion's pretty important. Like, I think you base your opinions off of most research studies you've done. Things things you've studied. I don't think you're just kind of shooting from the hip going, sounds stupid to me.
Like, ultimately what I mean by that is, like, I don't think my clients are paying me for, like,
opinion.
Yeah, like, hey, what's your gut feeling on this?
Well, I think that's different. Like, your opinion is I think always knowledge and science based, but your gut feeling, when you initially hear, it sounds like some guy wanted to make $1 million. No dice.
Yeah,
throw it away.
That's offensive to treat my clients like that. So I looked up a bunch of articles and really just tried to do an unbiased search, and almost every article that I found was very supportive of collagen supplements, like specifically supplements is what I was searching for. And their health benefits. There was very little research on the fitness benefits, but I mean, you can just kind of extrapolate your own kind of findings based on what's happening in the health to how that would translate towards a fitness outcome. Certainly it doesn't seem like it's causing any harm. If anything, like
maybe to your pocketbooks, it is more expensive
right.
for that.
Like a lot of the research is saying that it's really healthy, and so then I can expect that to translate towards health or to fitness benefits. But yeah, the thing is, like, do you need a supplement though? That's where I was just like, I just don't feel right about this. These supplements are expensive, and I'm on one of the websites right now, and one of the things that this website was citing. This is a website that sells collagen supplements. And one of the things that they're saying on their site is that everyone needs a collagen supplement because we don't get enough in our diet. Therefore, like, a supplement is required. And obviously, like, they're trying to sell their product. But I mean, I think that's kind of bogus for a number of reasons. Like, first of all, collagen is a protein. Your body makes collagen. It takes a long time to make collagen, and all sorts of connective tissues. The protein turnover is very slow. So, I mean, it's just a long process. But you make collagen from protein. And collagen, is stimulated by a couple of different things: growth hormone, vitamin C, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's like things you can do in your lifestyle and in your diet to promote collagen synthesis. Furthermore, like, I think that, and this is my opinion, so just prefacing that, I think that it's pretty easy to get it through your diet.
If you keep your protein intake up.
And also, I mean, like, just like making your own bone broths and like making, like, if you're gonna, like, I don't know, if you got like a whole chicken or something like that, put that in the pot and boil the chicken if you prefer that as like a cooking method. But then, like, save the broth that comes from that for making all sorts of other foods and stuff like that. I feel like there's so many ways that you can sneak in like those connective tissues and those broths of styles of foods into your diet, like, pretty easily throughout the week without having to rely on supplements.
Sure.
I mean but ultimately, like, it comes down to,
it's
like,
not going to harm you if you take more. Like,
I don't think it would.
I mean,
it just comes down to, like, how invested you are in doing a lot of cooking. Like, how domestic you're feeling that week.
If you'd rather just take a scoop or...
Yeah. And, like, yeah, if you just don't want to cook, power to you. Like, buy the supplement.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of evidence.
Can't get it through food, supplement it.
Yeah, the research is supported in supplements. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, one of the things I wonder, and I'll say this quick so we can move on to our actual topic is, collagen is what holds the skin, I guess, to the muscle. Kind of, it connects it. That's like connective, like you said.
Keeps the skin tight to the body.
Keeps it tight to the body. Keeps you tight there. And this is just with a little bit of research I had done, and it kind of made me think. I was just doing research on cellulite, and because I get a lot of questions about Adam, cellulite on the back of my legs, it looks bumpy, da 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 da. And I was doing just some research, current research on losing cellulite, losing the, looks like a pocket full of marbles, I guess, on the back of the leg. And what some of the studies are showing is the where it's connecting from skin to tissue.
Yeah.
The collagen there is in some women is thin and broken down. And in women, these collagen bands tend to run like a fence, just like straight up and down. And in men, they tend to run more like a chain link fence. And because they go straight up and down, a lot of times these collagen bands tend to, sometimes not, they're breaking down and getting thinner. Just some women have thinner ones than
shearing forces.
Yes. And so what happens is the fat, your fat cells in between are pushing through those, and that's what creates that dimply look. And so some research is saying by increasing collagen, you can increase that connective tissue, which will decrease the look of some of the cellulite. So this could be something that helps out along with standard or traditional or newer, whatever, fat burning techniques. So this could be that. Again, this is just hypothesis. This isn't saying something that works. But
it sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'd love for somebody to do it for, 10 weeks or something and see if there's anything to that. Anyways, let's get to the subject at hand, which is Trevor.
Yes.
Can you out-train a bad diet?
All right, guys.
Let's just start with Yes or no?
Ooh.
Can you give a yes or no?
Generally, yes, you can. Like under normal, just if you're a normal person, just doing your normal thing, yeah. But I think like this phrase is contextually like there's got to be context to it because I was
Yes.
thinking about this
It
like
can't be taken at face value under any
like
circumstance.
I'm sure there's like a point at which that phrase
Somebody right now is when I asked that was like, please yes, and they heard you say yes, and they just turned this off right there, like done. That's all I needed.
Justified.
Yes,
End podcast.
6 beers for lunch it is.
So like I'm sure there's like a point, and this is my question then to you. So I'm sure there's a point where that phrase is accurate. But like at what point is that? Is it like when you're 6,000 calories deep into the day? Like is that when you're like, okay, like I'm tipping the scales more towards overeating and I'm just not going to exercise that much to balance this.
I would say like if I had to put a blanket statement and just like really generalize this.
Yeah.
This is how I would do it. If your job is that of an office worker and you're sitting most of the day, chances are you are not out training your diet.
Right.
You're just not. You're not active enough. If you're a lumberjack and you are physically chopping down trees all day, chances are you could out train your diet because you just you probably aren't out eating it. Like you're just not. Like look at Michael Phelps. He has to take in, they say 10,000 calories plus a day, and he's by no means is he overweight or fat, but because he's burning so much. Like, so I think that contextually has to be based on like, what does your day look like?
Yeah. And I think,
what do you do?
So the reason I say like generally yes is because I don't think that people are generally like taking their daily lives into the extreme. So I think for like, let's say that office worker you just created in this little scenario, let's run with that. Let's say this person is 30 pounds overweight.
Okay.
And they're eating 3,000 to 3,500 calories a day.
Wow.
And they're not at all caring where those calories are coming from.
So
let's say
their balance in their nutrition is just shot.
There's no balance.
There's none. It is 80% carbs and fats.
Yeah, let's say there's a lot of fast food in there. So a lot of fast food, a lot of desserts and sweets, and just like the stereotypical junk food, right?
Yeah, I guess at that point I probably would just be like, hey, you really shouldn't be worried about weight. You should be worried about like cancer or something worse. Like there's so much more to worry about than weight.
Like,
but
this
okay.
dude is, and let's say this guy like doesn't care.
Okay.
You know, which I think is pretty unfortunately normal. I think a lot of people just are they may not be comfortable with how they look and feel, but the alternative of exercising or dieting is more uncomfortable for them, where they're just like, like not worth it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so they keep going through their routine, which is just based on junk food.
Sure. So
let's just say this person, could they, if they were to choose one alternative, so again, like going with this, let's say that diet and exercise is just too uncomfortable, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that, but I'll do one of them. I'll change one thing.
Okay.
And I'll stick to that.
Okay.
In this scenario, I would say that exercise is the solution. Like if they were to choose to exercise more,
okay,
and keep their diet the way it is, they would see more success than changing their diet, eating clean, but staying sedentary.
So, all right, let's keep it there. So this person now is eating 3,500 calories a day. Let's call it 3,500.
Yep.
Balance is shot to hell.
Yeah.
And they say, and now let's say they're an office worker, and on average, their basal metabolic rate, or the amount of calories they're burning on a daily basis, pre-exercise is 1,800.
Okay.
Right? So that puts them at what, 1,500 calories in the plus still.
Oh, yeah, this guy is way overeating.
Way overeating.
Yeah.
So does this guy now have to find a way to burn off over 1,500 calories in the gym, or do some random acts of fitness to get these calories gone? Or what does he have to do?
That is an awesome question. So I want to like lay out my defense, my argument about this.
Okay.
I have 3 platforms to discuss. And like guys, we
buckle your seatbelts, guys. Shit's about to get weird.
And like coincidentally, and I mean that because I did not know Adam's question before our podcast today. That is the perfect segue into my first platform. So all 3 of my platforms, let me describe them to you. Number 1, I dare say that calories are not as valid as we perceive them to be.
Okay.
All right. We give way too much credit to the role of a calorie.
I would agree with that.
So that's platform number one.
Okay.
Platform number two is you get, when you exercise, like things change in your body. Your body grows, and it's like exercise is a stressor, and your body responds to those stresses.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it responds is through adaptations, right? You can adapt and have metabolic adaptations from exercise, but you don't like gain those same metabolic adaptations from eating a big meal. Like eating a big meal is not the same stressor as a really hard workout. So you have a capacity to change your body for the better in the long term with exercise as the intervention in a way that food never, ever could. So that's number two, metabolic adaptations. Number three, and I feel like this is like the end-all be-all to this discussion, is like the research. Like I want to present some research on this topic. Research on the quality and longevity of life. So there's been a bunch of studies where they've looked at quality of life and longevity of life, and exercise is the primary factor in controllable and preventable different factors that could result in mortality. So I want to share some of those research.
Don't sit on your ass.
Right.
You'll die fast.
So with those three platforms being the basis of my argument today,
okay.
I want to talk about number one. So you said, does this dude need to then exercise to the degree of 1,500 calories or so?
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a big dude with a lot of muscle, 1,500 calories is going to it would take me 2 hours of a high-intensity workout minimum to hit that.
Like, to really get into this, this whole platform, like this whole topic right now, the role of calories, could be an entire podcast discussion in and of itself. So, Adam, feel free to like cut me off or like give me like a signal to be like, all right, man, like that's enough on this one.
Okay, so let me preface something quick before you go into this.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, like I'm kind of prefacing you, but I'm also kind of prefacing anybody out there listening, is my argument is going to be strictly based on Mrs. Jones, who is looking to drop body fat, whether it be in the first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks, first 4 weeks, like wanting to see progress happen. And I speak to that because that is 99% of the clients that general population and most people that I'm working with are like, Adam, I want to see, after only so long will I give this until I'm not losing weight. Even if they're losing inches, they're still like, I want to see that scale move.
Yeah.
So I kind of want you to make sure you're speaking to that also, not just like long-term, long life, longevity.
Right.
Because that's a big portion of, does this matter to some people? Because I would agree that with you working out more and making your body more proficient at metabolizing carbs and fats, you can then, like someone like myself, who my body is more, it is trained to do that. Like I can slip up quite a bit throughout the day if I want, still, stay relatively lean and keep the body composition that I have. Unlike Mrs. Jones, who just started 3 weeks ago, like she doesn't have near the slip up room that I do. She, you know what I mean? Like the grace period isn't near as nice to them or forgiving as mine is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's good. Keeping the context of today's discussion to just like the everyday person.
Yep.
Yeah.
That wants to see results now.
All right, so to talk about calories. Here I go.
This guy has, if you're not watching the YouTube right now, this guy has the biggest smile on his face. Like he's just about to eat somebody up right now.
All right, guys. So first of all, let me tell a quick story. So a couple of years ago, I was doing a research study, and we had to compare two different machines or modalities of ab workout stuff. And we also compared them to just traditional sit-ups. And this was for a company. This company hired our lab to do this research study. And as researchers, we were just kind of like joking around about it because we knew like this was kind of a joke of a study. What they wanted us to do was to compare the caloric expenditure of a workout machine, their workout machine specifically, to traditional sit-ups. And they wanted to then be able to make a commercial and market that their machine could burn so much % more calories than a traditional sit-up. So we did this study for them, and here's the truth. Like, you don't burn many calories doing resistance training. So one of our protocols for the study, we had students do sit-ups for 3 minutes at a set. We had a metronome, so they had to maintain a consistent pace for all 3 minutes. And on paper, that sounds totally doable, but in reality, like when we had the students arrive at the lab, like not even like half of them could actually finish the protocol. Like they would violate the metronome, the pacing, and not be qualified for that round. And then the ones that actually did finish, like they were so exhausted after the 3 minutes. Like their muscles were just like so tight they couldn't even like lay down normal. It was a rough 3 minutes to maintain this pace. And they're huffing and puffing. They're wearing an indirect calorimetry mask. So we take the mask off them. They're gasping for air and everything. And they're just laying down, sprawled out, sweating. And they're like, how many calories did I burn? And now I'm collecting that data like in real time. And I have the results. And
so 3 minutes of like hardcore bust ass sit-ups, like as hard fast as you possibly can.
Yeah. And to them in their mind, and these guys were like, a lot of them were really fit, and so they probably have some sort of reference point to like how hard they worked to what that would equate on the treadmill where it shows them.
Yeah.
So they're like lying down, huffing and puffing, and they're like, how many calories did I just burn? Like 200, 300 calories. And I'm looking at the data, and I'm just like, oh, geez.
I'm going to break some hearts.
Yeah, how do I break it to this guy? I'm like, no, you burned 12. Like, you burned 9 calories in those 3 minutes. Like, they were shocked, Like, they, like, rocked their worlds a little bit. Like I said, like, the truth is, you don't burn many calories doing resistance training. So I set that up as the preface to this. There was a study done long ago. This is a classic study, but it's so good. It was conducted in 1994, and I have the reference here, and I'll put the reference in the description notes. And it was conducted by Tremblay, Simoneau, and Bouchard. It's titled Impact of Exercise Intensity on Body Fatness and Skeletal Muscle Metabolism. And so this study, like I said, done in 1994, compared, it compared steady state jogging, just like for continual pacing of running for 45 minutes of jogging, basically, right? So like the intensity wasn't changing for the whole 45 minutes. So just like your basic traditional jog,
just holding a steady heart rate the whole time.
Yeah. So there was one group that did that, and then there was another group that did sprint intervals. So like I said, the type of resistance training is kind of similar to the sprint intervals. Like these guys were not burning a lot of calories. And so at the end of this study, I want to say it was 15-week study. So at the end of the 15 weeks, that's a pretty long training study. So at the end of the 15 weeks, the continuous steady state jogging group, they burned a lot more calories than the other group. But the outcomes were that the sprint interval group, the group that burned less calories, lost more body fat. So this was I say this is a classic study because this was one of the first studies, it wasn't the first, but one of the first to basically like pioneer this paradigm shift in our perception of calories. And in this study, it talked about how like prior to this study, a lot of people thought that you need to be exercising at an intensity that is using fats for fuels in order to lose fat. And that would really be synonymous with the jogging steady state group, whereas the sprint interval group, they were relying almost primarily, if not exclusively, on carbohydrates as their fuel during the exercise specifically. And this group that was only burning carbohydrates compared to a group that was burning fats right at like a peak fat metabolism rate, right? Like even still, the sprint interval group burning just the carbs and not burning more calories, like burning less calories, they lost more body fat. So there's a lot more stuff happening metabolically that is higher of a priority for the body or more important in the body than just focusing on caloric expenditure. So, and I, again, kind of tying this back, I'm bringing it full circle here. Like maybe you listeners have seen like in the gym, there are dudes or ladies who just lift. Like they only lift, they despise cardio, they complain about it, they joke about it, and they are just crazy shredded. Like you may be thinking like, okay, like this might be the type of person then, like they're not burning that many calories during their workout, but how are they so low in body fat? Compared to the person who's trying really hard, who's on the treadmill doing what, traditional, I guess, like approaches would recommend. They're on the treadmill working at that fat burn zone, doing all the stuff that they think logically is the best way to be losing weight. And they're playing the calorie game. And the calorie game is not as valuable. It's not as impactful as we give it credit for.
Like like you saying that, what it reminded me of is a lot of times especially when I first start working with a client is when they say I eat, everything is about calories. Like this food is only this many calories, calories. And when we focus on calories, we forget about macros, which are things that, we need certain macros in our balanced diet for a multitude of different things, for everything from energy to recovery of the muscles. So we got to make sure these things are all in correct. And I think when you're working out, when you're focusing again on just calories, we tend to get in trouble because utilizing weights is like the macro portion, but there's other things happening that we need to happen in the body for physiological adaptations to happen for not only just short term but long term success also.
Yeah. So like playing the calorie game
alone is not a good thing,
right? And so
it's just calories.
So again, like bringing it back to the whole Mrs. Jones scenario. Does Mrs. Jones, or is this Mrs. Jones or whatever?
Mr. Jones, I don't know. We've said guy and girl many times.
Our office worker, our office worker who's overeating and being sedentary. Like, do they need to expend 1,500 calories in the gym on a daily basis to offset stuff? No, they don't. If they try to, then that's them playing that same calorie game that I was just talking about, and they're gonna get burnt out, and they're, I don't know, probably they might even get injured, from the burnout, and it's just not going to be sustainable. Like 1,500 calories in the gym is a crazy amount of calories.
That's a lot of calories.
Yeah. So no, you don't need to play the calorie game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And let's not take this out of context. Trevor's not saying go eat like total utter garbage and then just work out hard because you can. Like that's definitely not the solution. Just as much, if not, it's even a worse idea than to just, count on calories.
Right.
Like that's the worst. Like, don't worry, I can eat this because I can out-train a bad diet.
I think even though like this is just point one of three, like this is a good time to like interject the moral of the story.
I think so.
Moral of the story, like, exercise and eat right. Like that's the best thing you can do.
The best thing is 50-50. Make sure that your food complements the way you're working out. Like
jackpot. Totally.
And there's so much more to worry about than just the vanity portion of it. I mean, if you truly want the vanity portion, like I say all the time, like we create life athletes because the way I look at working out is you're going to work out at a certain intensity on Monday. So on Monday, you also have to make sure you're eating correctly to recover in time so that Tuesday you can replicate just as hard or intensive a workout. Oh, yeah. And you got to eat good again so you can replicate it on Wednesday. The byproduct of that is you will start looking the way you want. These athletes, these pro athletes, a lot of them, unless you're like an offensive or defensive lineman, most of them are in really good shape and they have really good body compositions because they train a certain way. And they're able to train that way because they eat a certain way, and the byproduct is they typically look better.
Yeah,
that's the goal, and I think that's kind of the premise we got to kind of keep is that you have to have both yin and yang.
Totally,
it just doesn't make sense to have one than the other.
Yeah, and we're not saying like, and I don't think that like this whole scenario where this dude is working in an office, like I only have enough energy to choose one.
Yeah,
like that's like.
You need to look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself and say, "Look, stop being lazy."
We're not saying that you can get by only choosing one or
you
whatever.
You should. Or
I think the moral of the story here is social media or just general opinions over the past recent years have overinflated the role
uneducated trainers.
Yeah, that's the worst. They've overinflated the role of nutrition in our health and fitness outcomes and successes. And so it's not about choosing one or whatever. It's just really just kind of resetting what just our societal norms and culture has overinflated over the years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the moral of the story. Everyone eat right, exercise hard, but
50-50.
But let's make sure that we're valuing the role of exercise appropriately and not overinflating the role of nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So on to point number 2, or unless you have other stuff.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So on to point number 2, metabolic adaptations. If you start exercising, then one of the things, and by exercising, that's kind of general. Let's say if you start running, if you start jogging or running or doing anything that is aerobic and building up your cardiorespiratory fitness, one of the things that's going to happen, well, a bunch of things are going to happen, but one of the things that's going to happen is the mitochondria in your muscle fibers are going to, you're going to have more of them, so the quantity of mitochondria is going to grow, and the size of the mitochondria are going to grow. And so, like, just that, and that's like barely like the tip of the iceberg in terms of all the things that are happening in the body. Like all of the enzymes that are responsible for metabolism and energy production, like they're adapting too. You're going to be developing new and more, well, not new, but more enzymes associated with energy production. But I mean, like, let's just keep it dialed down to just mitochondrial biogenesis, like creating new and larger mitochondria. Like that, just that statement alone, as one of the documented outcomes of like the first 2 weeks of cardiorespiratory fitness, of improving your cardiorespiratory fitness, that's huge. Like jogging, like brisk walking, like 5 times a week for 30 minutes, like
a good mall walk.
Yeah. A good morning mall walk. 5 days a week for 30 minutes a session. Like doing those basic things, the hitting those basic guidelines for cardiorespiratory fitness is enough to induce these metabolic changes. Mm-hmm. And the changes that you'll gain from these metabolic adaptations from the stresses of exercise are going to be so much more impactful than what you gain from your diet.
Mrs. Jones is listening to this right now, and she's like, bro, I am so damn lost because Bill Nye is going ape shit with words right now. Like,
all right, hold on a second. I just
break it down.
Get the wiggles out a little bit.
So mitochondria, mitochondria, your muscles become more dense with mitochondria.
Yeah,
which leads to
greater fat metabolism,
so
and
your body
carbohydrate
burns
metabolism.
Fat faster,
yes,
and carbohydrates.
More
efficiently. So this is where we go back to when we talk about a fast metabolism. When your body has the ability to produce and house more mitochondria, your body can now break down carbs and fats a lot faster. Which means if it can break them down faster, you're less likely to store them because your body will take care of them before it can be stored. So your body runs like a proficient machine. Mm-hmm.
Guys, and when you have a stressor like exercise,
which this is to help your point.
Yes, please do.
When your body can produce these mitochondria and your body can house more mitochondria and your body becomes more proficient at creating these enzymes to speed up the process of utilizing carbs and fats as a form of energy, in your body alone without working out just alone can do that, so your body won't store these things as fat or convert to sugar and fat. This is where you're talking about that diet doesn't play a role in that. Like if you're just eating good alone, that's not happening. So now you have to eat perfectly for the rest of your life instead of your body. Instead of you having to work for your body starts working for you and starts reverse engineering itself a little bit in this situation. So if you can eat better and get your body to start reverse engineering itself and become more proficient, and your body starts working for you like a passive income, that's the ideal situation we want to get to.
Like if it's just diet alone, you cannot just eat more protein and from that increase in dietary protein gain muscle. Like that's not how it works.
Nope.
You can't just change your intake of fats and carbs and increase your fat metabolism. That doesn't work.
Nope.
Exercise is what stimulates muscle development, and it's also what stimulates fat metabolism.
That's it.
Yeah, that's my little summary statement for point number 2.
Perfect. All right, so that's it. I hope I hope everybody definitely took from that what we wanted them to. They didn't take any of this out of context.
Should we save point number 3 for another day?
What's point number 3?
Just like research stuff. How about I put the citations, the references in the description notes, and that'll be like a little Easter egg for you listeners. You guys can go and look up all the research.
Let's talk about popcorn questions.
Let's do it.
Popcorn questions. So last week I answered. This week Trevor's in the hot seat. So one of the questions was, why do you need carbohydrates? A lot of times, and I especially get this now, I get clients that say, Adam, if I want to lose weight, if I want to be effective on my journey, I cannot have carbs, or I have to have very little carbs. Carbs. So why do you need carbs during your workout? Why is this important? Why is that belief system just utter shit?
Right now, like over the past couple of years, people have been hating on carbs a lot.
And make you fat.
And I think that a lot of that hate on carbs comes from like diets that are not accounting for exercise. Once you start accounting for exercise, it changes the game a little bit. So when you start exercising, a couple of things are happening. And well, let me back up a little bit. When you eat carbs, a couple of things are happening. And one of the things that happens from carbohydrate intake is a subsequent spike in insulin. So like if you eat carbs, insulin goes up. Your pancreas is releasing insulin throughout your blood. And a lot of people are afraid of what that insulin is going to help your body to build more fat and stuff like that and screw up your health. So when you exercise, then you are able to, during that exercise session, and for, depending on the intensity of that workout, for up to a few days even after that exercise session, you're able to help your muscles take up glucose independent of insulin availability. So you have these glucose uptake transporter proteins that go up to the surface of the muscle fibers, and they help to transport glucose from the blood into the muscle. So for somebody who's like insulin resistant, or they have diabetes and insulin does not communicate normally in their body the way it should, then exercise can be actually like a life-saving thing for clearing some of the glucose from the blood. So people are hating on carbohydrates, and they're hating on simple carbohydrates, and they're not understanding that when you exercise, you are taking up glucose like way more efficiently during the workout and following that workout for a couple of days. And that's going to depend on the intensity and duration of that workout. So your physiology changes when you exercise regularly and you exercise hard compared to just being sedentary and not exercising. So like if you're being sedentary, then like maybe you can limit your carbohydrates. But if you are exercising, which I hope you are, and especially after our conversation today, like it's totally what everyone should be doing, then your body uses those carbs, and it uses them differently than somebody who's sedentary. So it's carbs are important. Being able to metabolize carbs at peak intensities is important for your fitness and for your weight loss goals.
I think that answers it.
Boom.
All right. Well, I hope everybody got their knowledge on today.
This was a deep one.
This was a deep one. We definitely kind of took it to the next level of it.
Yeah.
But again, do not take this out of context. Do not go eat like total garbage tonight, and then in a week go talk to your trainer and say, why am I not losing? Do not go to your trainer and say, well, I listened to this podcast and Adam and Trevor said, that's not what this is for. Right. This was strictly, literally we took the longest road possible to say that the 80-20 percentage is utter garbage.
Yeah.
There's no data collected that says 80-20.
Right. We
just made that a really long story.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And hopefully now, and like by explaining this, hopefully it's not just...
It's cleared up a few things.
Yeah, it's not just like
why
our word against all
yeah,
that.
like why a lot of things aren't what they seem.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Adam, again, how can people find you on social medias?
You can find me at www.hitboxcolorado.com. 2 I's in Hitbox. You can find me on Instagram at HITCAMPS_ or HITCAMPS. I think is what it is. On Facebook, you can find me at HITCAMPSCO. And that's it. I don't have near as many as you do. I'm not.
So, dude, I got another question for you. If people live in the Denver area and they want an awesome workout, where should they go?
If you live in the Denver area and you want to come to the strongest gym in Northern Colorado, you come to HIITBox. We are located in Reunion, which is also known as Commerce City, but I do not say Commerce City a lot because it sounds like a really bad area. So it is in Reunion, right off 104th and Potomac. Come right here, HIITBox, where we create life athletes. You can go to www.hitboxcolorado.com and you can find our class schedule there. We have everything from just standard HIIT classes for Mrs. Jones all the way to our brand new, just released this week, our strength camp classes where we're going to go over a lot more complex movements like deadlifts, squats, cleans, a lot of the multi-joint movements. So that's going to be pretty sweet.
When is that launching?
That's our first classes will launch as of next, I think it's next Monday.
So then
they will. So they can also go on your apps, your app store, your iTunes store, Google Play, whatever it is. Type in HIIT space box space Colorado. That's a black app, little orange icon. They can click on that, see the whole class schedule, or they can just go on the website and look at it there.
Cool. So maybe next week's podcast, you can tell us a little bit about how your strength. What is it? Strength camp?
Strength camp.
Dude, I totally thought I was saying that wrong.
You're saying it totally right.
So yeah, you can report on how that's going a little bit.
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
if they don't live in the Denver area and they're like, dude, I really want to train with this guy.
If you don't live in the Denver area, you can find me on social media, message me, tell me that you are ready to kick some ass because that means you're committed. And we can take care of you. We also offer an online program, custom workouts, custom food plans, all that good stuff. So we can take care of you, make sure we're helping you attain your goal, all that good stuff.
Rock on, dude.
What about for yourself? I mean, me and Trevor both do online programs. Trevor's got one that he also does too. He takes care of a lot of people a little bit all over the place, actually.
Yeah. So on social medias, you find me at Fit and Fizz, and that goes on. That's for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my website is fitandfizz.training. And so on my website, I only do online training. So Adam has a gym. He has a facility. You can train with him in person. I only offer online training. And I offer a kind of a unique approach towards online training. But I also do like some ebooks. I have some online courses. And so, our approach is towards reaching people through online audiences is different. And we complement each other. I encourage you guys to check out some of my online stuff and also some of Adam's.
Yeah. Fun fact, I'm a competitive strongman, and I utilize Trevor for my meal planning. He does all my contest prep. He did my last contest prep. He actually helped me drop a little over 30 pounds in 10 weeks and become legitimately the strongest version of myself I've ever been. I told him the next day, I was like, man, I cut so much weight in such a small period of time, which is not something I recommend anybody to do. And I lost the weight, and I was ridiculously strong day of. It was crazy, and I didn't gain a bunch of weight afterwards. Like I've actually kept my weight off, which I usually go down to 231 and then pop right back up to 255, 260 pounds and have to diet it back down. And I've actually kept the weight off just kind of sticking to the same modified version of your plan over the last, 8 weeks or whatever. And I'm still about 230, between 233 and 235, and still just as strong. Actually, I'm stronger now. So
that's awesome. Yeah, Adam, back in July, competed in Colorado Strongman competition and placed first in all of his events. So now he's competing at nationals in November. So like he just said, his social medias and stuff, go follow him, cheer him on, root for him leading up to National Strongman competition.
Yeah, be awesome. I love everybody's support. All right, guys. Well, we'll look for you guys next week. Talk about some more fun stuff. We'll update you guys on Strength Camp. We will update you on this badass mustache of his. He obviously cannot change this. Find him on social media. Like, the mustache has to stay, especially because it's about to be November.
Yeah.
Well, sort of.
So I'm really.
I need by November, November 1, you need to have a Ned Flanders mustache. Like, they just engulfs the upper lip and sort of, actually the lips in general. So your mouth is closed, there's like no lips there. It's just stash.
I'll need to eat all my food through a straw so that way
my
mustache
it's like a flap of sorts. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening in, and stay tuned for next week.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a good one.